In the last session on corporate governance, we had discussed the corporate governance guidelines of Infosys, that how minutely they had mentioned everything which the company has to follow. And those rules and regulations were posted on the official website of the company. So all the stakeholders means it can be employees, it can be the shareholders, it can be the suppliers, it can be the customers. So any person has a free and easy access to the corporate governance rules and regulations of the company. That was the reason why the guidelines were posted on the official website of the company. Because from there, this can be easily accessed by all the stakeholders. If only rules and regulations are prepared and they are printed and circulated to the employees of the company, we can say that only one stakeholder, that is employees, will come to know about the guidelines, corporate governance guidelines of the company. But to spread widely the guidelines, the company decided that it should upload it on the official website itself, so that anyone who wants to check what are the rules and regulations related to corporate governance of Infosys, anytime they can go to the official website and check these guidelines. That was the reason behind uploading the corporate governance guidelines on the official website. Now, not only Infosys, there are number of companies which have uploaded their guidelines related to corporate governance on the official website. Another one of the very famous company that we are going to discuss in today's session is Wipro. Now, I hope that everyone is aware of Wipro. Wipro क्या है पता है क्या सबको? What is Wipro? Anyone? Am I audible to all?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So I hope that Wipro, it is one of the very renowned company in the country. Not only in the country, it is renowned worldwide now. What is Wipro? What is it into? Yes, Wipro. What is Wipro? Now, please don't tell me that you are not aware of what is Wipro.
Sir, Neha here.
Yes, Neha.
Sir, Wipro is a globally recognized business organization which is quite known for the business solutions and consultation, healthcare. Also, they are into software also, and
Very good.
to the other rounding business services.
Very good. So it's a renowned company. They are into many businesses. Particularly, they are known for their IT related services. That is their core area, we can say. But the company shifted to IT from other platforms. So it diversified. Earlier, who is the owner of Wipro? Anyone other than Neha? Owner of Wipro. Yes, owner of Wipro.
Azim Premji.
Azim Premji. Yes, Azim Premji is the owner of Wipro. And when he inherited the company from his family, the company was not into business solutions or IT related products or IT related services, but the company was into food processing or food related products. Basically, oil, ghee, that were the products of the company when Mr. Azim Premji inherited. In 90s, when the country adopted LPG, and because of that, when the country's door were open for foreign investment, and when IT revolutions was at its peak, at that time the company diversified itself under the leadership of Mr. Azim Premji, and they started with the IT services, and it was very profitable for the company. So the company, which was a very small company, limited to a particular state, manufacturing or doing business of food processing, they diversified, and it was so successful that now the company is world one of the world renowned companies, not only in India but worldwide. They are having operations, they are having businesses not only in India but in other parts of the world also. Now, Mr. Azim Premji, who is the owner of this Wipro company, he has also initiated various practices to make the working or to make the structure of the company transparent. And one of that practices that he also uploaded, or Wipro also uploaded, the guidelines of corporate governance on the website. How they will be appointing the directors on the board of directors, how the selection of chairman will be done, how many non-executive or independent directors will be included on the board of directors. So whatever is expected as per rule, not only the company is taking care to follow that, they are going beyond that. That is the difference. That statutory, that means statutory means obligatory, compulsory. Under various laws, it is compulsory that these many directors has to be non-executive or independent director to be appointed on the board of the company. There is a rule, the percentage is fixed. So the company which is following that rule, we can say that it's a company which follows the rule. But there are certain companies which are going above that rule. That if 50% as per rule should be the number of non-executive or independent director, to be appointed on the board of directors of the company, here the company is doing more than 50%. रूल बोल रहा है कि 50% कम से कम होने चाहिए. जब कंपनी रूल से ज्यादा कुछ करने की कोशिश करती, then we can say that this is a company which is going beyond what is expected. So that we are going to discuss. How the remuneration is fixed, what is the term of board of directors, and very important is what are the role and responsibility of board of directors. It is not that if a person is appointed as director, that means the highest position in any company, because board of director is the highest authority which prepares, which formulates policies for the organization, strategies for the organization, and implementation part is taken care by the organization itself. But board of directors are the highest authorities which are making the policies. Implementation part is different, but making part is taken care by the board of directors. It is not that once a person is appointed as director, and as he enjoys or she enjoys the highest authority of the organization, the person is the performance of the person will not be measured, because in every organization, those who are working, they will be aware of that in every organization all the employees are evaluated for their performance every year by performance appraisals or a performance evaluation, to find out whether the employee is profitable for the organization or not. If the employee is profitable, the employee is retained. If the employee is not profitable, the employee is removed from the organization, because in this age of competition, it is not possible for any organization to retain non-performing employees in the organization. That is why performance evaluation is done rigorously, methodologically, scientifically nowadays, because each and every organization wants to know what is the return on investment of the employees. If the organization is, say, paying 1 lakh salary to an employee, how much he is contributing to the profits of the organization, that is exactly calculated nowadays. To find out whether the employee who is being paid 1 lakh rupee salary per month, whether that employee is profitable for the organization or not. If that employee is profitable, then only the employee is retained, otherwise he is shown the door. Same is the case with the highest position director also. And Wipro has mentioned very clearly. Infosys has mentioned it very clearly that not only the performance of the employee of the organization will be evaluated every year, but the performance of the directors will also be evaluated. It is not that if a director is employed or appointed for a period of 3 years, the director will enjoy the position for next 3 years. There is a clause in that, and the clause says that before the expiry of 3 years, before the expiry of that tenure of director, that director can be removed from the board of directors if the director is not performing. So that performance pressure is not only on all the employees of the organization, but that pressure is with the directors also, and particularly the non-executive, the executive, and the independent directors. Now, the independent directors and the non-executive directors who are included on the board only because of their expertise in a particular field in which the company is running its business. Suppose Wipro's main business is IT related services. Now, five IT experts are included on the board of directors of Wipro. It is expected that as they are included on the board because of their expertise and experience only in the field of IT related services, it is always expected that they will be profitable for the organization. They will come up with some innovative ideas, some innovative strategies, which, if implemented by the organization will be more and more profitable. But if one of these five independent directors, if he or she is not performing, not coming up with innovative ideas for 1 year, for 2 years, so before the expiry of this tenure of this particular director, this director can be removed from the board of directors. And the ways of removal, the term of office, the role and responsibility to be performed by the members of the board of director is very clearly mentioned on the in the guidelines of corporate governance, which is published on the website of the official website of Wipro. So that we will be discussing in brief. So board, we will start with board composition, that how the board is to be constituted. Selection and appointment of chairman and managing director. Now here, the board shall make its choice that seems to be best for the company at any given time. The board believes that this issue is a part of succession planning process and it is in the best interest of the company. The board shall make appropriate determination and consider succession planning at the appropriate time. Now here, how the managing director or the chairman will be appointed. They have mentioned very clearly it will be on the basis of succession planning. Now this succession planning is to be approved by the board of directors. The person who will be appointed as chairman or managing director of the company, that decision shall be taken by the board solely on the interest of the company. The person who seems to be best suited for that company, who seems to be the best potential person, who will be making the company more and more profitable in the years to come, that person shall be selected for that particular position. Board of directors responsibilities, we were talking about that it is not that the responsibility only lies with the employees of the organization or managers of the organization, but there are certain responsibilities which are to be performed by the board of directors also. We will just discuss some of the duties of the board of directors. Code of business conduct, I'll just read the lines and then we will discuss. The basic responsibility of director is to exercise their business judgment to act in what they reasonably believe to be in the best interest of the company and its shareholders. In discharging that obligation, director shall be entitled to have access to its record, rely on the honesty and integrity of company officers, employees, outside advisors, and independent auditors. The directors shall acknowledge and sign the following documents. So the role of responsibility, they have to take decision on the basis of their expertise, plus while taking any decision they can have access to any company document. They can ask for information from any employee of the organization, and then they can take the decision that is in the best interest of the organization. Specific duties of the board of directors are as follows. Some of the duties we will be discussing. I'll first read and then we will discuss. Acting, number one, acting on a fully informed basis, in good faith and with due diligence and care, with high ethical standards, and in the best interest of the company and shareholders. Whatever decision they are taking, the decision shall be taken on fully informed basis. Fully informed basis means after going through the detailed information provided by the company officials, a decision shall be taken. The decision shall not be taken by the directors on the basis of their prior experience. Now, suppose if, say, four directors or five directors of the company who are independent directors, all are very qualified, all are expert in IT field, and they are taking the decision in the interest of the company as per their experience. So what is expected in the company is the decision shall be taken on fully informed basis. Fully informed basis means all the decision related information shall be collected by the board of directors, shall be discussed in the board meeting, and then in the interest of the company the decision shall be taken. एक डायरेक्टर है जिसको 30 साल का एक्सपीरियंस है, जिसने डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज में भी बड़ी बड़ी आईटी कंपनीज में काम किया है, प्रायर एक्सपीरियंस में अगर वो कोई डिसीजन लेता है तो दैट इज नॉट अलाउड हियर. What is expected, although you are having experience, but first collect all the information from the company, read that information carefully, discuss that information in the board meetings, and then take the decision which is in the interest of the company. That is one of the most important duty mentioned in the board of in the responsibility of board of directors. So when any board of director is appointed, we are talking about particularly the non-executive and independent directors. All these role and responsibility which they have to perform if they are included on the board of directors are clearly communicated to those people. And once they sign that letter that I have read all the information provided to me, and I am ready and I am ready to follow all the rules and regulations of the company. I am ready to perform all the role and responsibility of director at the board. Once this approval is given, then only the person is considered for appointment of or for inclusion at the board level. Otherwise, not. Why? Because if this information is not communicated to the person who is about to be appointed, on the company's board, later on he may say that I was not aware that I have to collect all the information, I have to read the information minutely, then I have to discuss that information with the other board members before taking a decision. I thought that as I am the board of director, or I am one of the main director on the board, I am free to take any decision as per my own wish. That is not allowed. So that is mentioned very clearly. तो जब भी किसी इंडिपेंडेंट डायरेक्टर को अपॉइंट किया जाता है, तो कंपनी का रूल क्या है कि जो रोल और रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर के होंगे, वो सारे रोल और रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी इन रिटन फॉर्म उस व्यक्ति को भेजे जाते हैं जो बोर्ड पे अपॉइंट होने वाला है। उसे कहा जाता है कि आप ये अच्छे से पढ़ लीजिए, और अगर आपको लगता है कि ये आप सारे रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज अच्छी तरीके से पूरी कर सकते हैं, तब आप नीचे डॉक्यूमेंट पे साइन कीजिए। जब आपके सिग्नेचर हो जाएंगे, जब आपका एक्सेप्टेंस आ जाएगा, तब हम आपको अपॉइंट करेंगे बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स के, तब तक नहीं। तो दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट that there should not be any confusion in the mind of any director that as they are enjoying the highest position, they are free to take any decision. How the decision is to be taken, that is also expected. कैसे डिसीजन लेना है, अपने एक्सपीरियंस पे नहीं, रियलिटी पे डिसीजन बेस्ड होना चाहिए, इंफॉर्मेशन पे डिसीजन बेस्ड होना चाहिए। आपने यूएस की किसी कंपनी में काम किया, एक डायरेक्टर ने 20 साल 30 साल या उससे भी ज्यादा, उसको वहां का एक्सपीरियंस है, वो उस एक्सपीरियंस के बेस पर अगर डिसीजन लेता है, तो ऐसा हो सकता है कि वो डिसीजन विप्रो के लिए फायदेमंद हो, ऐसा भी हो सकता है कि वो नुकसानदेह। तो उस डायरेक्टर के लिए भी क्या नियम है कि अगर आप विप्रो के बोर्ड में है, तो पहले आपको कंपनी से पूरा इंफॉर्मेशन मंगाना है। वो इंफॉर्मेशन जो ऑफिशियल्स ने दिया है, वो इंफॉर्मेशन को आप अच्छे से पढ़ लीजिए, उस इंफॉर्मेशन को बोर्ड मीटिंग में डिस्कस कीजिए, और ट्राई कीजिए कि जो डिसीजन होता है वो यूनैनिमस डिसीजन हो, ज्यादातर लोगों की उसमें सहमति हो, ऐसा डिसीजन। सो दैट इज एक्सपेक्टेड, दैट इज द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नंबर 1. Selection, evaluation, retention of chairman, chief executive officers, and oversight of selection and performance and other executive officers. Board of directors की duties we are discussing, that how the chief executive officer is to be selected, whether the CEO or managing director is to be retained or to be removed, how the performance of that person is to be evaluated. Everything is mentioned clearly in the role and responsibility of the board of directors. Then understanding, reviewing, and monitoring implementation of strategic plans and annual operating plans and budgets. So preparing and implementing the annual budgets. Suppose if budgets are allocated for a particular thing, whether that budget is utilized or whether that budget is underutilized, it is to be checked, it is to be monitored by the board of directors. एम्प्लॉई वेलफेयर के लिए एक बजट एलोकेट किया गया बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स के द्वारा कि पूरे साल भर में ये बजट है, XYZ अमाउंट है, इतना बजट आपको एम्प्लॉई वेलफेयर पे खर्च करना है। वेलफेयर के अलग अलग तरीके बताए गए हैं, उसके ऊपर आपको खर्च करना है। कंपनी को बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स ने ये निर्देश दिया, जब बजट बन रहा था तो बजट में ये एलोकेट किया गया इतना अमाउंट। अब इतना अमाउंट यूज हुआ या नहीं, 5 करोड़ दिए गए थे, 5 करोड़ यूज हुए या नहीं, अगर यूज हुए तो वेलफेयर के क्या क्या एस्पेक्ट पे यूज हुए। ऐसा तो नहीं है कि सिर्फ मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर या टॉप ऑफिशियल के वेलफेयर पर ही ज्यादातर पैसे खर्च हुए और बचा हुआ जो 50 लाख रुपए था या 1 करोड़ रुपए था वही वर्कर्स के वेलफेयर पे खर्च हुआ। तो यहां पर सिर्फ बजट प्रिपेयर करना ही जवाबदारी नहीं है, मॉनिटर करना भी जवाबदारी। कंपनी ऑफिशियल से जवाब मांगना कि कितना खर्च हुआ, कहां कहां खर्च हुआ, सबका डिटेल रिपोर्ट हमें चाहिए, सबकी डिटेल इंफॉर्मेशन हमें चाहिए। दैट इज अगेन द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ द बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स। तो बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स का काम सिर्फ जाके बड़ी बड़ी बातें करना या बड़े बड़े डिसीजन ले लेना ही नहीं। बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स की मीटिंग में डिसीजन के साथ साथ जो डिसीजन लिया है क्या वो सही तरीके से इंप्लीमेंट हुआ है या नहीं हुआ है, इसकी जानकारी रखना भी इनकी ही रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स की। नेक्स्ट, सिलेक्शन एंड ओवरसाइट ऑफ इंडिपेंडेंट ऑडिटर्स, ओवरसाइट ऑफ फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट एज पर द चार्टर ऑफ ऑडिटर, रिस्क एंड कंप्लायंस कमेटी। इंडिपेंडेंट ऑडिटर्स अगर अपॉइंट किए गए हैं, वेदर दे आर डूइंग their job efficiently or not, whether the financial statements prepared by the company are as per the norms or not, it is to be checked by the board members. Advising management on significant issues, कोई प्रॉब्लम्स है, कोई बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट इश्यूज है, तो उसके ऊपर management means the management of the organization which is taken care by say chief operating officer or chief executive officer or the managing director of the company. जब भी मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर या सीईओ को कोई इंपॉर्टेंट इशू पे डिसीजन लेना है तो वहां पर बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स उसे मदद कर सकते हैं। Review and approval of significant company actions, declaration of dividend, for example, declaration of dividend, major mergers and acquisition transaction, etc. If the company is going for diversification, if the company is going for merger, if the company is acquiring another company, if the company is declaring the dividend to the shareholders, all these important decisions are to be taken by the board of directors. Next, evaluating and nominating director and members of board committees, overseeing the structure and practices of the board and committees, and encourage continuous training of director. So board of director is responsible for constituting other committees. Other committees we will be discussing in the next session, the constitution of various committees. There are 4 to 5 statutory or compulsory committees which are to be made by the board of directors of the company. One of the company is called as nomination and remuneration committee. Another company is called as the audit committee. Another company is called as the corporate social responsibility committee. So these type of committees are to be constituted as per law. So it is the responsibility of the board of directors to constitute these committees for the organization. So these are some of the important responsibilities. Others, so we can see that there are around 23 responsibilities. Next responsibility is uh, so important, all we have discussed already. Monitoring the effectiveness of companies governance policy, selecting, compensating, monitoring. Ha. Point number 12 is selecting, compensating, monitoring, and when necessary, replacing key executives and overseeing succession planning. Very important. At the start, we had discussed that it is not that once a person is appointed as director at the board, the person will be continuing till the completion of the duration. Suppose if for 3 years the person is appointed, before 3 years also the director can be removed, or the managing director or the general manager or the senior manager can be removed if they are not performing. So performance is very important. How they should be selected, how much amount of salary shall be given to these key officials of the company, that is to be decided by the board of directors. Now, apart from the above 22 responsibilities, point number 23, it is written in point number 23, other general responsibilities as per the Securities and Exchange Board of India, listing and obligation of disclosure requirement regulation 2015, SEBI listing regulations. So 22 रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज कंपनी ने खुद लिख दी है। और 23rd रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी क्या है? अगर कोई रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी सेबी द्वारा दी जाती है तो दैट रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी विल आल्सो बी इंक्लूडेड इन द बोर्ड, इन द लिस्ट ऑफ द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज फॉर बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स। तो ऐसा नहीं है कि बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर को कोई रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नहीं है, सिर्फ अथॉरिटी है। अभी हमने देखा कि कम से कम कंपनी में अगर विप्रो में कोई बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर अपॉइंट होता है तो that person has to follow at least 22 or more than 22 responsibilities. Next, mix of executive and non-executive directors, that is same as we had discussed earlier with respect to Infosys. Next one, board definition and the constitutes and what constitutes independent director. Now, independent director also, the meaning of independent director, we have discussed the same independent directors meaning is implemented here also. Then lead independent director, that also we had discussed in the last session, that suppose if 4 independent directors are there or 5 independent directors are there, one director is appointed as lead independent director who will be leading the team of other independent directors. So that is called as lead independent directors. Now, board membership criteria. The board governance, nomination, and compensation committee comprise entirely of independent directors, shall be inter alia responsible for identify, screening, recruiting, and recommending directors for nomination by the board of election as the member of the board. So the board nomination criteria, how the board of directors are appointed on the board of director, who are the people who will be selecting that director on the board, that is mentioned very clearly. Now we will discuss just the qualification guidelines for board membership. Few guidelines we will be discussing, few qualification guidelines. It is not that any person can be included on the board of directors of Wipro. They have given the clear guidelines that who is eligible to be appointed as director on the board of directors at Wipro. That is mentioned. So the qualification required from the probable candidate or probable director is as follows: Strong management experience, ideally with major public companies with successful multinational operations. So पहला जो रिक्वायरमेंट है डायरेक्टर का कि उसे स्ट्रॉन्ग मैनेजमेंट एक्सपीरियंस होना चाहिए, मतलब अच्छा मैनेजमेंट एक्सपीरियंस होना चाहिए, ideally with major companies, major public companies. Ideally they have mentioned that it is uh, good if that experience is from the major public companies with successful multinational operations. मेन चीज क्या देखी जा रही है कि कितने प्रोजेक्ट में दैट पर्सन वाज इन्वॉल्व एंड हाउ मेनी सक्सेसफुल projects that person has handled or completed. Other areas of expertise or experience that are desirable given in company's business and the current makeup of boards, such as expertise or experience in information technology, manufacturing, international financial or investment banking. So all these things they have given in detail. C is desirability of range in age so that retirements are staggered to permit replacement of directors, desired skill experience in a way that will permit appropriate continuity of board members. Age is also taken into consideration. It is mentioned very clearly that suppose the age, if the law says that at the time of appointment at the board of directors, the age of the person should be 65. And if the board appoints a director for a period of say 3 years, so a person is there who is eligible for the board of directors position, but the person is more than 64 years of age. Now, at this particular time, the board will think of appointing this person at the board twice. Why? Because if the person is recruited now, he will be at the board only for say 6 months, 7 months, 8 months till he completes the age of 65 years. And again, the board has to look for another board of directors. So this thing is also taken care by the board of directors when they are appointing a director at the board. Ki for 3 years, is it possible that this person, if appointed once, will be there in the organization or in the at the board for 3 years? 65 का एज लिमिट है, 64 प्लस वो व्यक्ति अभी है, अगर उसे हमने अभी ले लिया तो शायद 4 महीने में 5 महीने में उसे रिटायर करना पड़ेगा क्योंकि उसका एज 65 होने वाला है. अब ऐसे व्यक्ति को अगर लिया, 6 महीने के बाद हमें वापस से सारा प्रोसेस रिपीट करना पड़ेगा, वापस से इंटरव्यू अरेंज करने पड़ेंगे, वापस से स्क्रीनिंग करना पड़ेगा और फिर एक नया बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर इंक्लूड करना पड़ेगा. तो इससे अच्छा है कि हम लोग इस व्यक्ति को छोड़ के किसी दूसरे व्यक्ति को लें जिससे कि अगले 6 महीने में हमें वापस से ये सारा प्रोसेस करना ना पड़े, 3 साल के लिए हमें ये प्रोसेस की जरूरत ना पड़े. सो दैट इज the meaning of this. Knowledge and skill of independence as defined in the board diversity perspective through brought to the board by individual members. Now, why it is expected that the directors should be from diverse backgrounds? Diverse backgrounds means if they are coming from multiple background, diverse backgrounds, there are more chances that they will be coming with some innovative ideas, diverse ideas. One person has worked in, say, US, in US IT companies for, say, 15 to 20 years. So he will be coming with that experience. Another person has worked in the other IT companies in India. So he will be coming with that background. Another person, he has been doing consultancy of various IT companies. So he will be coming with that particular background. So if people from multiple background are appointed in the board as directors, then they will be coming with their own different innovative ideas. So a thorough and a very strong discussion can take place at the board before coming to a final conclusion or before taking a final decision. कंसल्टेंसी का जिसको एक्सपीरियंस है वो अपने एक्सपीरियंस बताएगा, जिसे इंडियन कंपनीज का है वो अपने शेयर करेगा, जिसे यूएस कंपनीज का है वो डिस्कशन होगा हर डिसीजन का प्लस और माइनस डिस्कस किया जाएगा, और जिसमें ज्यादा प्लस पाए जाएंगे उस डिसीजन को एक्सेप्ट किया जाएगा। अगर डाइवर्सिटी नहीं होगी तो क्या होगा? बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स में सारे लोग वही हैं जिन्हें इंडियन कंपनीज, इंडियन आईटी कंपनीज का तजुर्बा है या एक्सपीरियंस। तो यहां पर जो इनोवेशन है, जो अलग अलग फील्ड का एक्सपीरियंस लेके लोग आ रहे हैं, वो यहाँ पर कम हो जाएगा, और यहाँ पर शायद फिर डिस्कशन भी कम हो जाएगा। यहाँ पर सब लोग कौन है? सब लोग एक ही डायरेक्शन में सोचने वाले हैं। क्यों? क्योंकि सबके पास एक ही टाइप का एक्सपीरियंस है, इंडियन सिनारियो का ही एक्सपीरियंस। अब यहाँ पर कंसल्टेंसी वाला भी है, यहाँ पर एक एक्सटर्नल एक्सपर्ट भी है, यहाँ पर एक इंडियन मैनेजर जिसको मैनेजरियल लेवल का एक्सपीरियंस है वो भी है, एक यहाँ पर जिसे अमेरिकन कंपनीज, आईटी कंपनीज का एक्सपीरियंस है वो भी है। तो अलग अलग बैकग्राउंड से अगर लोग आएंगे तो ज्यादा डिस्कशन होगा, ज्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग डिस्कशन होगा, और ज्यादा चांसेस है कि ज्यादा अच्छा डिसीजन लिया जाएगा और इम्प्लीमेंट किया जाएगा। So that is the meaning of this. Then now H is important. Commitment to attend a minimum of 75% of meetings, which will also include attendance through audio and video conferencing. Number of meetings to be attended, it is also fixed. 10 मीटिंग है, 10 में से 75% मीटिंग्स आपको करनी है। 5 मीटिंग अगर साल में होती है तो 75% मीटिंग्स आपको करनी है। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, ए कंसल्टेंट is appointed as independent director at the board. Now this consultant is very busy because his clients are in India, his clients are there in America, in UK, in Australia, in Japan, in China. So in various countries he is having clients. So because of his expertise, the person is included on the Wipro's board of directors. But now this person, if he is not able to attend the board meetings, then that expertise is not going to be beneficial for the company. Now such type of people, although though they are very experienced, they are very intelligent, but these people should not be included. Why? Because if they are not beneficial for the company. If they cannot attend the board meetings, if they cannot take part in the board meetings, if they cannot be part of that discussion in the board, then these people shall not be allowed to be appointed as board of directors. So it is mentioned very clearly, once you are appointed at the board of directors, you need to see to it that you attend, if not possible all the meetings, minimum, maximum it is expected that all the meetings should be attended, and minimum it is said that 75% to it is compulsory. Physical meetings you can attend, or in this situation, if online meetings are there, you can attend online meetings also. But in no case a director is allowed to attend less than 75% meetings. So more than 75% meetings are not expected. So this was the very important point. Now, proportion and determination of independent directors, selection of new directors. Under the proportion of independent directors, the board believes that as a matter of policy, independent directors shall comprise of at least 50% of the company's board. This will not, however, prevent the board from taking a valid action if, due to a temporary vacancy or vacancies on the board, there are fewer than intended proportion of independent directors. At any such vacancies shall be filled as soon as reasonably practicable. They mentioned very clearly that there will be at least 50% independent directors in the composition of the board. But if at any point of time, as we have discussed, if the director is not attending the meeting, that director can be removed. If that director is not performing at the board meetings, that director can be removed. Suppose if one director is removed and that 50% percentage comes down to say 45% or 40%, then it is mentioned very clearly that the company will try to recruit or appoint new director at the earliest. So that is mentioned very clearly. Now tenure, here the tenure is again mentioned very clearly. So both the guidelines I'll be sharing on our notes portal. So today itself we will be sharing that. You can download it from there also. Now, how the board meetings are to be scheduled, everything is given in detail. Very simple. We have discussed earlier also when we were discussing the guidelines of Infosys. Same guidelines, more or less. Very less changes are there. Attendance of the board meeting, that already we have discussed. Now, fees and allowances of attending the board meetings, that is also mentioned. Sitting fees of rupees 20,000 per meeting shall be payable for each board or committee member. Actual lodging, boarding, travel expenses, and usual place of residence to location of board meeting, and out of pocket experience to all the directors. So they have mentioned very clearly. कि जो भी खर्चा होगा मीटिंग का, वो सारा खर्चा कंपनी द्वारा पे किया जाएगा, प्लस कंपनी के द्वारा अलाउंस दिया जाएगा। कितना अलाउंस पर मीटिंग, दे हैव मेंशन्ड वेरी क्लियरली. So these were some of the important guidelines of corporate governance, which are included, which is included in the guidelines of Wipro, and which is uploaded on the website of Wipro. In the next lecture, we will be discussing about the composition of various committees under corporate governance. 4 or 5 committees are there. Their composition, their role and responsibility, we are going to discuss in the next lecture. So thank you everyone for joining today's session. Thank you.